Well, hi, welcome back everyone to our It's Good to Talk with Clients series. And I'm really excited to be joined today by Hannah Dawson, the founder and CEO of Futrli. So Hannah, thank you very much for joining us today. And if you could just give a very brief introduction to yourself and Futrli, that would be fantastic.
Sure. Good. Hi, David. How are you? So yeah, Hannah, and for my sins, I'm the CEO and founder of Futrli, as David said. Futrli is a platform for forecasting. All we care about is the future. That's it. It's the future for small businesses or accountants who are helping small businesses, because sadly, the majority of small businesses are not running with forecasts. And so we are really trying. We have a suite of products that will help either bigger small businesses or those that just need plug and play and instant forecasting. So we've spent a lot of time building prediction software. So that's just come into the marketplace.
Amazing. And so we'll have a chance to have a quick look at the Futrli platform later in our session. But for now, Hannah, it'd be really great if we could sort of dive into your experience with accountants and how they interact with clients. This series is all about it's good to talk with clients and that all important kind of client communication, that client conversation. Where has the accounting profession been when it comes to client communication and where is it today?
Okay, so I usually get in trouble for being quite outspoken, and Helen, who's my COO, who's not doing today's interview, would probably say different things. But I just go back to my personal experiences, right? And then this has been validated through talking with our accounting partners as well. And so I think that there's reasons for what I'm going to say. So my first business was I bought a pub in Devon in 2003. A long time ago, when I was 26, and I had managed restaurants in Glasgow beforehand, so I understood like how to run the business and all of those sorts of metrics, but hadn't done the VAT, hadn't done forecasting apart from sales forecasting, and so was sold a copy of Sage 50 by my accountant. And who will remain nameless. And in our first meeting, so the first meeting that we had was the year-end meeting. It was literally getting set up. Here you go. Here's some software. Good luck. Do you want bookkeeping help? I'm like, I don't even really know what bookkeeping is yet. So, muddled through, did a load of, reading and trying to work out how to use Sage and what I needed to do. And obviously in a restaurant as well, you've got a really high volume of invoices that are coming in every single day. So did all of that. And then very, very shortly, nearly buggered everything up with not forecasting for VAT properly. So nearly lost business. But my first accountant meeting was very much here's your year-end accounts, which looked nothing like the chart of accounts that I had got used to with my accounts package, because of course it goes through the tax preparation software, which is what I now know. So that the accountants have their standard setup, and and I'm like, okay, first of all, that doesn't even look like my business. And then there was like, oh well, that wasn't very good, was it? What happened there? Well, if you had been around, so I was kind of on the back foot. But then I think the biggest thing was there was never any conversation to say, look, I can help with X, Y, Z. But this is a long time ago, right? Advisory, I don't think was a thing back then. But then I was asked to sign it. And I was like, well, but you prepared it, you sign it. This doesn't look like, and so immediately set the tone for our relationship. I'm a bit scared of you, but equally I don't want to look stupid. So I'm not going to ask you any questions, because you've kind of been really assumptive about what I should know and what I shouldn't know. So even just explaining the whole year-end process, I'd never gone through that before. I didn't know, so there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of assumption that happens when an accountant has a relationship with a small business client. I've been on lots of webinars with and demos and whatnot with accountants all over the world, in fact. And the one statement that gets my back up the most is that, yeah, but my small business clients aren't interested. Mm. They are. They're just not interested in the way that you're presenting it or talking about it today. So which is where I'm a massive believer, you know, that advisory has become this thing that it's talked about all the time, and it's this elephant in the room. Like it's brilliant, you know, the traditional advisory as it stands today, management accounting, you know, strategic planning, all of those sorts of things, board pack creation, brilliant if you have 50 employees up and you're doing an external CFO service or something along those lines, because, you know, a business with a lot of staff has complexity. For those maybe 25 and above, but for those who are the bulk of, you know, most portfolios, they are smaller. It's the 25 staff and below, and they don't need all of that, but they do need to know they're okay. And so I hope that after what's happened last year, with the delight of COVID, and is still happening this year, and, you know, the inordinate debt that we are going to have to pay back, which is going to squeeze, you know, ultimately is going to squeeze us, and people losing their jobs and furlough ends and all of that stuff, that I think a new type of service which is conversational, is actually required. You know, a little and often. Here's, you know, funnily enough, here's your automated forecast. You know, this has been prepared by technology, you know, in a much more sophisticated way than a human could even. So as an accountant, the time I'm going to spend with you for the next 20 minutes, half an hour on Zoom, because we don't need to go and have, you know, long meetings with our accountants. It can be impactful, short and sharp, is right. We said we were going to do this. If this was my business, this is the first thing I would do, you know. And I've been saying to our accountants, like, since the new year's really hit, is to go, okay, remove the fear factor. You don't need to sell anything. You have so much experience that they don't have. You don't need to be patronizing. You just need to, like, you know, you were talking to your mate down the pub. When you look at their business, you've got 10 minutes or you've got to jump off a cliff, you know, into shark-infested water. If this was my business, this is the thing I would do first. This is the thing I would do second. Right, tackle that this month. And just, you know, bite-size, little and often, and explain why. This is why I would do this thing first. That's help. It doesn't fall into this traditional advisory. I don't know. Do you know what I mean, David? It's become a big thing, advisory, and people are like, well, I know I need to go into it, but I don't really know what my service offering should be. And everybody says I've got to do value add pricing, and, you know, should I have a package? And so this paralysis happens when actually there's a swathe of, you know, small business clients who are silently trucking along. Some of them are doing this, some of them are doing that. You know, the firms doesn't necessarily know because their touch point's the compliance touch point, and, you know, they just keep missing each other. And, you know, I'm on a mission to try and just make it simpler, quicker, just easier for both parties to go, oh, okay, I can ask a question and I'm not going to feel like an idiot. Oh, I can level up this small business and just help them with this first. So I've just talked a lot at you. Sorry, David.
No, that's fascinating. So it sounds like, you know, there is a big gap to be bridged there, you know, to go back to your experience.
You agree?
Absolutely. And I think what's really interesting is trying to get to the root cause of that gap, because I think quite often, as you know, as accountants, we sort of have a tendency to think, you know, if I go back to my time in the profession, okay, you know, something's not as good as it could be here. Let's layer on more complexity. Let's layer on more technical information because we're technicians. Whereas in actual fact, the root cause of it is, you know, it's sort of almost speaking different languages, and what you really need is a sort of translation. You know, almost need a Google Translate for accountants to small business owners, to just be able to, you know, give them an understanding of the most important things going on in their business. Well,
you know, I had a conversation with one accountant over here in the UK last year, and it just sticks with me because I couldn't believe that, because she was like, I just don't know what to say to them. I'm like, okay, just, right, let's go back as if I had my pub again, a hospitality client. So what are the 3 things that I can control on a daily basis that will make a difference to the business and how much cash I'm going to have in the bank at the end of the year? Wage percentage, food GP, drink GP. Get those things up. I mean, those are the things that can get automated, as set up the chart of accounts so it's separated out. Then that'll flow through to Futrli. You'll be able to get one dashboard with 3 metrics up there, and you can talk about, right, why did that happen? What can we do to improve efficiency? Just keeping it simple. Because the thing, the business owner has to go away thinking, right, I've got a tactical plan to try and sort this thing first. Because don't boil the ocean. And I think that's, again, the amount of times that I've heard, yeah, and I prepared this big PDF pack, and they didn't really care, because they were overwhelmed. And you didn't say, do this, let's talk about what we do about this, which is why I've kind of reverted to right, you've got 10 minutes, scan the business. What would you do first if it was your business? And then I think it starts to take away the fear for the accountant, because you have all of the tools up here at your disposal. And I also think that, I think a lot, clearly, David. I also think that in the past, the value that an accountant has put on themselves is the preparation of accurate data and presentation of accurate data. When in fact, today's world needs the interpretation and what next of the data that's being prepared by software, frankly, and so even if you're looking, if you're looking at forecasting, get comfortable with it being 90% accurate, not 100% 2 months later because you've done a month end, just be able to understand trends and, okay, look, this looks like it's tracking off. Why is that happening? Like you've got, there's a massive spike here. What's happening there? And just helping the small business within the confines of their own financial information feel comfortable enough to ask questions, to ask them, do you understand that? Do you know how we can make that better? Well, we either increase that or we decrease that. What do you think we can do first? And so it's just a much more hand-holdy, like I said, like it's your best mate down the pub, and you're talking to them. I tell you what, you will transform the conversations that you have, and the ability then to generate more revenue, because this isn't, potentially for free. I mean, we've been doing research on what our small businesses would pay for a monthly check-in or bi-monthly check-in, just for like an accountability check-in. Okay, just for someone to just go, okay, yeah, you're doing great. Brilliant. Why don't we do more of this? Or, oh my God, we need to sort that out right now. So for instance, credit control is an issue. That's the thing that's been detected. There are a ton of overdue invoices. Well, we're going to help you with your credit control. It's going to cost you X. However, we're going to defer payment until this point. And I know that you're going to be able to afford it because we'll have done the work to make sure that you can afford it. Well, that's a conversation that you're going to say yes to. So it's just, again, not selling. Just, I'm going to solve this problem for you, but I'm going to value the help that I'm giving you. But equally, I'm not going to, price myself out of something, but I am going to discuss price, because small businesses have to value what you're doing. And I think that there's a lot of missing, again, when you keep missing each other, what's the value in a set of year-end accounts? You're keeping me out of jail, right? That's it.
Yeah.
I don't, if you're not helping me with anything, you're a necessity, but you're not bringing me any value.
Fascinating. Really fascinating. So
I don't know, I'm just waffling on.
No. That, what I take from that is, the prescription is, I think 3-part. It's as you said, little and often, and confidence of the value of of a conversation, of an informed conversation, not
Absolutely.
a perfectly informed conversation, because a perfectly informed conversation, you know, potentially can only be had with the benefit of however many months hindsight, when you're just looking back and you're doing a post-mortem of, in all likelihood, why things failed. But, you know, based on, as you say, the 90% information, much more likely than not to be accurate. So, yeah, little and often and confident of the value.
And confident to do pre-mortems as well. So our chairman uses that, and I'm like, I love that term. But you know, within the confines of their own business, you know, say, right, this is a problem. We need to tackle it. Let's try. Well, if we do this, and then use your forecast to look at what that looks like. But if it doesn't work out and it's 50% less, or whatever that thing is, so that the comfort level start to increase all the time. But you're also doing a pre-mortem on the, you know, well, which option do we go for? Is it option A, B, or C? Amazing. And then what happens if, you know, so it's just, and it's fun, right? That is satisfying. But genuinely picking one thing a month. You know, start there, then the confidence will build to be able to go, but not just your confidence. You're both going to be building each other's confidence, in fact, you know. And many of our accounting clients as well, they're small businesses too. So learn from your small businesses, ask them what they're doing on, you know, social media or whatever. You know, if there's something that they can help you with, have a conversation about that too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely amazing, and true to the spirit of that. You know, this has been a great discussion, and you come in with an agenda of what you think will be the most valuable things to talk about, and then, you know, you hit upon a point and you kind of explore it from there. So that's been great. That's been so valuable, and I'm sure will be for everyone watching this interview. So if we can kind of move from that to Futrli itself, how, you know, what do you do to you know, help accountants, you know, use your product and have great conversations with clients? So perhaps if I could just hand over to you to kind of screen share a little bit, and you'll be able to talk us through, you know, both the platform itself and what you do to help accountants have great conversations and valuable conversations with clients based thereon.
Okay. Great. So we've got 4 products actually now. And one of them is just for accountants, but I'm going to come to that one last. Great. So this is Futrli Advisor. It's our absolute, you know, Shire horse of a product. We've had it for a really long time. We still run Futrli and Futrli. We got our investment from, you know, running Futrli and Futrli. So it's all in one: forecasting, reporting, and alerts and PDFs. So this is the product that you will use with your larger clients, traditional advisory. So the forecasting side of things, you know, you can create scenarios that are like 8 million of them. But you've got lots and lots of options for scenario planning, linking scenarios. Our formula builder has nested formulas, which apparently we're the only ones that do that. So you can really get, like, for true forecasting and getting, you know, assumptions coming out of your ears, this will work. Full 3-way, VAT calculated, and then get that visualization done in your dashboards or in the PDFs where we've got so dashboards with lots of information here. And then in the printed reports section, if we go to the new reports bit, discard, and then you've got so many templates. So from the accountant's perspective, this is about scaling, rinse and repeat. Right? You know, every business is going to have its own unique KPIs. There's going to be a lot of them that are standardized, and particularly if you work in a niche sector, get those charts of accounts standardized, and then your work will be a lot easier. So, you know, it's got a lot in it. We've also got alerts so that you can track all of your clients. I mean, we've just got, you know, Josie's Florist set up. That's our demo. You'll see Josie in a second. But you can set up alerts for any formula, account, whatever you want. So, you know, debtor days, wage percentage, you know, you can add all of those formulas into your forecast so that you can track specific KPIs as they're being built out. You can compare whatever you want. We've got tracking forecasting. We've got consolidation and benchmarking. It's got a lot, right? So that's Advisor. Then we have Futrli Predict. So Predict has been built because of that, as I said at the beginning, the identification that the majority of an accountant's portfolio are on the smaller side of things. They are too small for traditional advisory. It's not relevant. You don't need a board report if you don't have a board. So we also saw, though, unfortunately, that many small businesses are still, in the research that we did, are running without forecasts, and it's not part of the DNA of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. They're not testing decisions out within the confines of their own finances. So what we've done with Predict, I mean, it was about a year late because it's a complex old beast behind the scenes. But what we've done with Predict is created a really automated way for, it's plug and play. Plug in your Xero, plug in your QuickBooks. And what it's doing behind the scenes is it's separating out every single transaction type. So journals, cash transactions, invoices and bills, all of those are separated out. We look for trends, seasonality, those sorts of things. And then we forecast them all separately and then pull them together for each account. So for every account that's happening. So that's on the activity side. It's the first ever hybrid forecasting software, which means that we don't just have, it's not just three-way like Advisor is. We've also got invoices and bills, which I'll show you. And it also means that on the cash impact side of things, we're aggregating the average payment days for every single customer, every single supplier. We also know, of course, that journals and cash transactions behave in different ways. And so you have this live blended average customer payment days for every single account too. You can see you've got unpaid invoices here in the cash. So, there's always two sides to a transaction, when you sell it and when you get paid for the thing, potentially. And then on the invoices side, again, we can be super pinpoint accurate. So just like your floats, etc., we've combined the two. We knew that there was, there's nothing in the marketplace that does this. So again, change the date on your invoice, exclude it if you need to. Your overdue invoices are flagged. They are included in today's cash flow because we must. So you can, it's a really great way to kind of diagnose credit control problems. And then on the financial side, well, as one would expect, we've got full profit and loss, balance sheet and cash flow. But one of the key things that we do is properly calculate VAT from every single transaction in the actuals up until yesterday, and then predicted transactions from today onwards. So this will change, this figure will change as the days pass. And if we hit settings very quickly, I'm going to show you that we support accrual and cash-based VAT schemes. Monthly views, weekly views, etc., etc. And then what we do have is this wonderful, nifty little thing called This Number Explains. So rather than you just trusting us with this black box of information is just, where does it come from? We explain exactly what the rationale is behind it. And so you'll see if we go, for instance, to expenses and we look at the salaries account, you've got the journals are being detected, and we even, we create journals off the back of it. It's really good. Of course, you can also turn off our predictions if you know more than we do. And there are 3 different methods that you can use at the moment. I'm going to show you the unit-based one very, very quickly. So if you're selling products or services, what's your selling price? How many? Monthly, weekly, quarterly, etc., etc. And then, of course, we've got the 2 sides of the coin because we're a hybrid and we do the 3-way. When's it going to get paid? So it can be a split payment. We can do 30, 60, 90 days, custom, whatever you want. So it's very, very robust. Right, I'm going to cancel that. And then if you have got a bit of a problem with your cash, I'm going to be very quick, I promise, with your, credit control, your customers, we've got some brilliant, brilliant insights in Flow where any customers you've got an issue with, you can go and see, right, Four Seasons Hotel, what's going on? It's taking them 44 days to pay me at the moment. I'm 39% dependent on them. Click on them. You've got really, really granular information over everything that's happening with that customer to give you an action plan as well. And advice will be dictated. So that's Flow. And then finally, specifically for our accountants, Predict Plus has been on the go for about a month and a half. And so using the Predict technology, It's a new service that we're super proud of. It's going down an absolute storm. We will connect the technology will connect every single one of your cloud clients, Xero or QuickBooks, and it then creates full practice analysis. Effectively, it's the only current and predictive practice analysis on the marketplace, because of course no one else has got the predict technology. And what that will do, if you look at this as a client list here, it will grade clients into tiers of medium risk, high risk, and opportunity, so that you can see what revenue you have at risk, what revenue opportunity you have. You've got your full portfolio averages here, average KPIs. You can see who your top and bottom clients are for all of those metrics as well. What we do is inject it into Sheets. We inject the information into Sheets using its API so that you can then manipulate it. You can see month on month who've moved into high risk opportunity. You can get a full list of all of your high risk clients and so on and so forth. And then key areas of concern are also pulled out for you. Client detail. We even generate the advice. There's a predicted cash flow, cash shortfall to address here. You can see all of the different metrics are pulled out. We separate out the key cash flow health and the business health, because you may well have amazing, revenue and profitability, but your collections are terrible. So, your cash flow is in a downward trajectory because you're not collecting from your customers. David, you know all about that with Chaser. We've separated them both out, but we are, then giving you, you've got non-directors loans to repay, etc. So I've got them in the demo one here. We scan for loans that are non-directors loans, again to give that flag. So this is where all of the raw data is. You're weighted against. Every client's weighted against itself. So it's your portfolio. There's a weighting applied across it so that we're not comparing your clients to Deloitte's, for instance. And then what you can do here from a really tactical perspective is then say, right, okay, we've got the client manager column. We're going to filter by high risk. We're then going to filter by, A to Z down and who's got the biggest problem with this. Stick the names of who's brilliant at looking at helping clients with funding in your team. Get their name down next to it. Who's got compliance meetings with any of these clients coming up? Get all of your names down here, just so that you're really prioritizing in 2021, not just by compliance deadlines, but actually for the sake of your own business and theirs. You have this insight into the next 6 months of every single one of your clients. Unreconciled bank transactions and so on and so forth are pulled in too. And because we're a hybrid, we can look at cash and liquidity and invoices and profits and average sales. So that's a whistle stop. I'm going to come back here. There we go. How was that? In time? I don't know.
That was fantastic. Thank you very much for showcasing the just so much power under the Futrli hood. So thank you very, very much for that. And just, final question before we finish, Hannah. How can people who are watching this get in touch?
Well, anyone who wants to talk to me, go on ahead. Hannah, Hannah, at futrli.com. And then, if you want to get in contact with the team, in fact, come to me, and then I will distribute, because it's nice to talk. It's nice Brilliant. To talk. That's Indeed. How we finish. Right.
What a way to finish. It's good to talk, and so if you've liked what you've seen today, it'll be great for you to talk with Hannah. Hannah, Hannah, at futrli.com. There we go. Thank you very much, Hannah.
David, my pleasure.
Hopefully you enjoyed that short interview. My name is Andrew Jordan. I am the CEO at Connect4. Please do book a demo. Click on book a demo, and we will love to talk you through our platform and to show it in action. And great to have you with us.